Welcome to my channel. My name is Junior Lee. I'm a land wholesaler and I've closed 100 deals in my career. In this series, I'm going to go over every single deal that I've ever done. I'm going to go over every detail of that deal and hopefully give away enough information. That way someone else that hears this video is able to go out and become successful themselves at land wholesaling. So far, I've covered deals 1 through 8, and in this video, I'm going to go over my 9th deal. It's a deal where I closed on a vacant lot in Rowan County, North Carolina, and I made $2,000 on the assignment fee. Now, this was the first time that I closed a deal outside of Georgia. Though all of my deals have been virtual to this point, and I have only seen one of them in person to this date, this was my first time expanding outside of Georgia, which would lead to becoming a regular thing. So like I said, this was the first time that I expanded outside of Georgia and even North Georgia into North Carolina. And I kind of figured out which market that I was going to expand into in a creative fashion. What I did was I had joined North Carolina real estate Facebook groups, and I just paid attention and even searched to see where people were buying land, what cities, counties, zip codes, what their prerequisites were. I was just paying attention to everything that people were posting in these groups. And then I went on PropStream and I made my list based on what people said. And that's how I started marketing in North Carolina and how I began to expand outside of my home state of Georgia. Once this one particular owner replied and we began our conversation, I took a look at the lot on PropStream and I saw what other lots were selling for at that time. And I presented an offer of $9,000 plus closing costs because based on my evaluations, I believe that I could sell it for 15 or even higher. We signed that assignment of contract. I took my purchase and sale agreement, which was only 3 pages, my assignment of contract, which was only 3 pages, and I sent both of those documents to the closing attorney and told them that I would like to open title search and schedule closing once title is back clear to close. The deal was under contract. I then had to begin marketing it to find a buyer. So what I did was, since I was doing this all virtually and I did not want to spend a lot of money on a deal that just had some potential on it at the time, I took the free route and I used Google Street View and aerial screenshots of the lot lines. That is all that I used to post on Facebook groups and Facebook Marketplace that this lot was for sale via assignment of contract. I disclosed to everybody that I was selling it to, that I am wholesaling this lot. So once it was under contract and I had it posted in the Facebook groups and Facebook Marketplace, I began getting messages asking if it's available, pertinent details about the lot, utilities, survey, soil test, and restrictions. I had all these questions answered because I asked the seller and then verified with the county once it was under contract. So I provided that information to the potential buyers. So my attorney received my purchase agreement and my assignment of contract, and they started the title search. Once it was back clear to close, they scheduled closing with the seller and the buyer. There was no need to schedule with me because all I was doing was receiving my wire. They worked out a date that worked for both parties, and the scheduled closing took place. On that day, the end buyer wired in $11,000 plus the closing cost for the attorney, $9,000 of which went to the owner of the land, minus prorated taxes or maybe any other fees that he might have owed. But about $9,000 went to him, $2,000 even went to me, and my buyer, Ivan, was now the proud owner of a infill lot in Rowan County, North Carolina. The best place for me to be posting these deals were the Facebook groups that I sourced the buyers from. So what I did was I took my Google Street View pictures and my aerial screenshots and I posted in the Facebook group with the details of the lot and said that it was available. That's where I got most of my traction from, and potential buyers went out and visited the lot. Now once they did see that some clearing and grading needed to be done to the lot that I couldn't necessarily see from the internet or from the PropStream or any Google Street Views because they're sometimes years old. And so I was getting some lower offers than I had hoped for, best one being $11,000 plus closing cost. The list was back. What I had to do with it was begin SMS marketing. So now what I would do in this day and age is I would take that list and I would export it straight into launch control. So that way I can send my compliant messages and I can begin talking to the sellers. Back then I was using a different SMS software, but now I've upgraded and I've gotten launch control. But I texted everyone on that list and I was seeing if they were interested in selling. Now, since I was not reverse wholesaling, in a sense, as I was just targeting where I saw buyers were buying, I had to place the evaluations on the land myself. So what I would do is when the people would text me back and say they were interested in selling, I would then take the numbers that they were providing me and compare it to what other sales in the area were going for. Or if they wanted to hear an offer, I would look and see what land was selling for in this area and just make an offer for less at a discount, so that way I could assign it to a buyer. To get started in land wholesaling, you definitely need a solid purchase and sale agreement and an assignment of contract. There's tons of resources online. I have one that I found recently that has good PDF examples that you can purchase the same day. Once you receive it, you can have your attorney or a title company review it and tailor it to what you need specifically, and I'll attach them below. Along with this being my first time wholesaling outside of Georgia, this was also my first time dealing with a retail buyer that was unrepresented that I was going to be doing an assignment of contract with. And I was a bit timid and concerned that explaining the process of the assignment of contract and how a wholesale deal works to a retail buyer that is unrepresented was a bit concerning at the time. So all I did was I just was completely transparent and just explained everything to the best of my ability, as though I was just educating him on how the deal was going to play out. Now, he knew that he was interested at $11,000 plus closing costs, which for most buyers is what is most important. So I explained to him that I had it under contract to purchase for $9,000 plus closing costs, and that contract is assignable. So I am assigning it to him for $2,000 on top of the $9,000 plus closing cost, and that's called an assignment fee. So what I did was, whenever he was ready to review the assignment of contract, which is a separate agreement from the purchase and sale agreement, I sent him the assignment of contract, which was between my LLC and himself, along with the signed purchase and sale agreement between myself and the current owner of the lot, or the owner at that time. So he could see exactly what contract and contractual rights are being assigned to him. So I believe with my complete transparency from the beginning, so he was familiar with the verbiage assignment of contract, and then how thoroughly I explained it and was willing to provide the documents needed, gave him the comfort to proceed with this purchase. So after he reviewed everything, and I took the time and explained it to him, he was ready to sign the assignment of contract. So again, I just sent another DocuSign to get that signed. So to summarize everything needed to complete my 9th ever wholesale deal, I needed Facebook groups, Facebook Marketplace, and I needed my own Facebook account that looks like a legitimate person owns the Facebook account. In this day and age, it's going to be really hard for you to be productive on Facebook. Now, I'm not saying you have to be on Facebook to be a land wholesaler, but it is a great resource for you to connect with buyers, builders, agents, other wholesalers. There is real estate wholesaling, Facebook groups and communities and support groups. And so you need, I think I would advise to have a professional looking personal Facebook that makes you look like a person, so that way people want to work with you. But aside from that, PropStream, clearskip.com for skip tracing, launch control for SMS, and yes, Facebook is the disposition method. And then you need a purchase and sale agreement, an assignment of contract. Now keep in mind, you don't need all the softwares and the data to begin wholesaling or to start your journey. There are free ways, there are low cost ways, there are many ways. There's a lot more regulation in this day and age with what you can do from your personal cell phone. From when I started 4 years ago, I was able to start with texting and calling from my personal cell phone. I would not advise to do that, as you could get your phone marked as spam and it's your only phone number that you have to use. If you don't have a budget to get a dialer or an SMS tool, I would try to reverse wholesale for an experienced wholesaler. I would go and find buyers. You could do that in free and low cost methods. So if you have to get started, don't let not being able to have prop stream, skip tracing, launch control, virtual assistants stop you. Just get started, just get some deals going. But everything you make, you need to reinvest back into the business. As that's what I've always done, is I've reinvested it right back into the machine that makes money. Now my business is bigger than it ever has been. I employ 3 full-time virtual assistants that completely run my business for me at this point. They handle the acquisitions all together. They handle my administrative. You need to work with virtual assistants at some point. But like I said, do not let not having the budget for these things stop you. Now, if you do have the budget, if you have a solid W-2 or whatever, another job, another source of income, and you can invest money into software, data, skip tracing, virtual assistants, I would 100% recommend doing that, because you can bypass all of the gritty work in the beginning of land wholesaling and just have deal flow. But that's what I would advise. If you have to start low or cost effective, do it. Don't let money or circumstances stop you. But if you do have money to invest in tools, use the tools, because you can build your business faster, and just make sure you build it properly the first time.